So, hello everyone. Welcome to the first food feature. I hope you and your families are all safe and healthy during this critical situation we're living in. It's quite an unprecedented time, and we're trying our best to get well with this new format of having a cultural event. So my name is Amir Masoud. I am the Culture Program Coordinator at the Goethe-Institut Amman in Jordan. And on behalf of the Goethe-Institut in Jordan, Amman, I would like to thank you all for taking part taking time to actually register and be part of this event today. It's a great honor actually to have you all. We're happy, we're very happy actually and thrilled to actually have made a local event that actually we thought of it as a local or regional event, but actually it turned out to be international. Perhaps if these Corona times have forced us to change our lives and the way we interact with people and with the way we organize our cultural events, we see this as a positive thing from this situation where allowing us to use digital means to cross borders and to share knowledge and reach a wider audience. So a few words I would like to say about the Goethe-Institut. For those of you who don't know the Goethe-Institut, it's the cultural organization of the Federal Republic of Germany. And we're active worldwide around more than 150 institutes around the world. We promote not only the study of German language abroad, but we also encourage and foster cultural exchange amongst the countries. For those of you also who are familiar with the Goethe-Institut projects that we have, normally we focus on certain formats with film and dance and theater, etc. But we also have been working for the past 2 years almost on a new cooperation with the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ. So this is part of a global project, let's say, of fostering cultural and creative industries around in Africa and the Middle East. So on behalf of this ministry, together with the GIZ, we promote the emerging markets of culture and creative industries in Africa and Middle East. So this program that we launched late in October last month is basically coming under this project. It's called FoodFabriK, which focuses on food design. And with this project, we wanted to encourage the development of practical and theoretical knowledge about this emerging discipline in Jordan and in the region. And this program has two components. One is FoodFeatures, which we kick off today, exceptionally online, but we hopefully also next year to continue with offline presentations if the situation, of course, allows us. I would like also to introduce here with us my colleague Lovis, who is also a coordinator in this project. May you please also say a few words if you like.
Of course. Thank you so much, Amir, for this nice introduction. I'm very happy to be here, very excited. As Amir said, my name is Lovis Maibatulijn. I'm project coordinator for the Culture and Creative Industries project at the Goethe-Institut in Amman in Jordan. I will be in the background of this event. So if anybody has any technical issues, any questions, just drop me a private message in the Zoom chat and I will be happy to help. And I'm excited for the FoodFabriK to kick off with the first food feature. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lovis. Cool. So I would like now to introduce our moderator for the whole series of food features. Her name is Aya Shaban. Aya is a food designer herself. She's based in Amman. She describes herself as a wild forager, and she's also an architect. Since 2012, she has her own food design brand called Namliye. She co-founded founded this brand in Amman and is active in different fields of the food cycle. So I would not talk much about that. I would like to hand over now the mic and the screen to Aya to tell you more about today's food feature and introduce our guest.
Thank you, Amir, and thank you, Lovis. Please admit, please admit the audience while I speak. So many of them.
If you could do that, Amir, because I'm doing this share screen.
As Amir said, I'm an architect and food designer based in Amman. Super happy to be moderating these series of talks with exceptional designers and pioneers in the food design field. If you feel like it, please go to the chat and say hi. Let us know which part of the world you are in. Would be nice to get to know each other a little bit. And meanwhile, allow me to bring to your attention a few guidelines before we start. This session is recorded. So, and it will be shared publicly. So please turn off your video if you don't feel comfortable. Otherwise, it would be lovely to see everyone's faces. And we have a big crowd today of over 70 people. So please keep your mics muted for the length of the session. You can type in your questions in the chat throughout the talk, and they will be gathered by us. And some of you will be able to ask directly towards the end. In curating these series of food features, it has been important for us to explore the beginnings of the marriage between food and design, what it means to design food, and make deep dives into the opportunities and possible challenges that may arise in the field. We have interesting sessions lined up on topics such as food design for business, sensory food design, and the future of food that will be held on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Middle Eastern time. Today, we will kick off with an extraordinary guest. He is based in Barcelona and Berlin, working as a designer for worldwide companies. Martí Guixé is widely credited with introducing the concept of food and design to the world. When in the 90s, he opened an exhibition featuring techno tapas that have been evolving ever since. His body of work for the past 20 years can be described as visionary and cutting edge, challenging the formal design of the food we eat today. A self-proclaimed ex-designer, Guixé has liberated himself from the expectations and boundaries of design and initiated a movement to explore food as an object. So for the next 60 minutes, we will join him on an exciting journey into his world to explore food, designed through his eyes. Don't forget to type in your questions or comments in the chat. And let's get started. A very warm welcome to Martí Guixé. The mic and screen are yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah. So let's see if I can share the screen. Mm-hmm. So you see the screen, eh?
Yes, perfect. We see it.
Okay. So, as you said, I was really starting to work with food at the middle of the 90s. I was very interested in food because as a product designer, I was interested in mass production, and I realized that mass production and mass consumption food was an item, and but people didn't think on food like an object. So I tried to think on food like an object, and then I tried to develop food with a project of design, let's say with ergonomics and all these things. I have to say that, let me see. I have to say that I am really a kind of generalistic designer. I am doing also interior design and some graphic design. And food is something that, in a way, it became a kind of experimental work for me, kind of speculative. Yeah, this is a diagram. I will start now. This is a diagram that is from Alfred Barr Jr. that he did in 1935 for the exhibit in the MoMA, I took the diagram and I take off things and I put my things on it. So you see at the top of the diagram, the first exhibit I did in 97 at the beginning in the H2 gallery. And then I put all the different projects in black, and the red things are the external influences. Interesting on this diagram is that after 10 years, in 2007, there is three main things. One thing, Design 2.0, which is design that is a kind of a tool to develop other things, other products. At the right, we have X-Designer. This is this idea of working design outside of the boundaries of the discipline. And in the center, where in the diagram of Alfred Barr was modern architecture, it is food design, which already in 2007 was a completely new thing. So completely becoming. 2017, I did 20 years that I did this first exhibit. So what I did with same with anthropologist Octavio Rofes is to reverse the diagram. So I started 2007 with the three main topics, which is X-Designer, food design, and Design 2.0, and having all the projects and all the things till the exhibit in 2017, which was this digital spam 2017. In this case, the external influences become influenced topics that I did through my 20 years. So we have this food design movement, or we have the business utopia, design pilgrimage, or digital lifestyle. So the first thing that I was interested in starting was the object as something edible, and to use this object like something that you can design with a project of design. This is mostly because I was interested in mass consumption and mass production, as all the designers, product designers from this time. So this edible object was through the project of design, worked with ergonomics and functional things. The first edible object I presented was this called spammed, which is the phonetic for spam to market. Spam to market is a typical snack from Catalonian. It's a bread with a tomato, squeezed tomato on the top, oil and salt, and you can eat as a side dish or kind of snack. What happened at that time in mid of the 90s is that we were all starting to have a computer in the old day, and so we were starting to eat and while working or playing in the computer, and that was a complete new behavior. So what we did is that when you were eating this traditional food, the food was not adapted to the situation. It was, for example, the market doing a lot of dirt in the keyboard. So what I did is I proceed with a project of design with this traditional snack, and what I came is to have the bread inside the tomato, the oil and the salt, so that in that way you could eat in front of the computer. I use the name spam because it's a reference, a cross-reference with spam, the mail, the rubbish mail from internet, but also spam as the Hormel Food Corporation food, which is a kind of industrial food. So spam and technotapas was these snacks designed to be consumed in extreme situations of the normal life. For example, technotapas can be eaten underwater, which is a very extreme situation. This is another project. They are all quite historical projects. This is from '97. It's called Sponsored Food. For some people, Paleolithic time is the golden age of humanity. It was groups of humans completely free through Europe and taking food from the nature. It was no agriculture. So it was a kind of a golden period of humanity. I did this food which has a sponsor, and it could be possible to build a sponsored food restaurants kind of network. It means that if people can go through, again, through the world and eat for free, that would be meaning that the consumer society is the new nature. This is another project. It's called tapas pasta. It's a way to cook the pastas so that you can eat with your fingers. So I believe that if the object is well designed, you don't need this prosthesis. So if you need a dish, if you need some forks, some spoons, it's because the object has not the quality to be ergonomic. If the object is done through a good project of design, you don't need all these external tools to help to eat your food. So tapas pasta is, you cook like that. You put the spaghetti inside a penne rigate. With a heat, you can bend it and then insert into the water. When it is al dente, then you can take it away, and then you can eat it with your fingers. And in that way, it allows you to try a dish of pasta and to try different sauces. Or what you can do is to share a dish of pasta with your friends, something that usually you cannot do with a conventional or traditional dish of pasta. And this is another project. It's called Hand-Free Lollipop. And this is one book from Corraini. It's a second edition. It's already from 2015, where you can find a little bit all the projects till 2015 about this idea of objects, edible objects, and food design in relation to the project of design applied to food. This is another book I did for an exhibit. It's a kind of different approach. It speaks about the end of gastronomy as a nutrition system and the beginning of food design as a way of having food for the all day. It's a book that it's an essay, a fiction essay about a chef that abandoned gastronomy to go into food design. This is also from Corraini, and this unfortunately is it's not anymore in the market. Okay, so when I did these projects in food and I was asking people to present it, it happens that the design world was not really interested in it. The most interest came from the art world and from lifestyle. So the only context in which I could explain my work was in the context of art exhibits or exhibits. So the work was a lot into exhibits during this. Still, it's now I am doing exhibits in these last years, This, for example, in 2001 in La Sala Vinson in Barcelona, or this is in 2007 in Singapore, as a kind of 10 years exhibit. But the first exhibit I did in the H2O gallery, where I was showing the spumped, the tomato with the bread, the gallerist, the architect Joaquim Ruiz Millet, told me that if I want to do an exhibit on product design, I cannot show pictures of it. I should do some object of it. So it's true that in product design, people, they show in the exhibits the object itself and not the picture of the object. But food, it's quite different. So initially I was intending to show pictures. He forced me to do, to prepare the food. And here I have to say that although I am a food designer and working with food, I have no idea of cooking. And also I am not really interested in learning it. So my approach to food design is completely from the point of view of a designer. So I didn't want to prepare 500 grams. What I did is I asked some friends to help me to prepare it before the opening of the exhibit. So we were 5 people. At the left, Jonathan Daifuku, a Japanese, was cutting this tomato with a special tool, circular knife. Then in the second position, Carl from Sweden was emptying the tomato. In the center, Marius from France was putting the bread inside the tomato. Then Lucas, Italian, was putting the oil and salt. And me at the right, the last position, I was doing the quality control. So we prepare around 500 of these tomatoes. But it happens a second thing. It happens that we started to prepare it, and after 10 minutes, Joaquim, the gallerist, said, okay, stop. You need to do it when people are here, not before the opening. So we stop the preparation of the food. And then when the people were coming, then we prepare the food in front of the people. So that way, it was so that I became a kind of performer, or food performer in this way. We had a lot of media attention with a lot of bad critics from the point of the design. From the design world, we had a lot of bad critics saying that this is not designed, that it looks everything very bad, and it's not really nice. And from the gastronomic point of view, they were saying this is not really gastronomy. It's not really, you cannot prepare food and drink tins of beer at the same time in the table. So, but the thing was that it was prepared to be done before the opening. So we did it after in public, and it was not like that. And it's true that it was not really design, it was not really gastronomy, it was food design, which was completely new at that time. Same year, months later, I did another exhibit in which we prepared it much better. So the exhibit was displayed on the table. The table was with lighting, and we prepared the food over the exhibit on the table, and we were standing, and everything was like more designed. Regarding performance with food, this is a different thing, but it's related. This is I designed a system for Desigual, for a brand that makes clothing, and this is a shop I did, and the shop, it has a kind of zigzag, and it's very good to display, to put graphics on this zigzag, but I really didn't wanted that they put the graphics of his campaigns. So what I did is I asked them to give me the money they wanted to expend for these graphic applications. And then with this money, the day before the opening, we organized big parties with a lot of drinks and food. And I was inviting friends to enjoy the party, and at the same time to paint the shop completely free. And then the people were doing a lot of fun with the food, or enjoying the food. And then the next day, the shop was mostly, this is one of the different shops we did, mostly like that. The shops were completely different, each one. They were completely authentic because they were doing by people enjoying food and drinks during the night. And also it happens that the first shop we did, the cleaning service, and the next day called the company asking or warning that some squatters were entering into the shop. So we had to say, no, it was on purpose. We did it like this. And yeah, and also a relevant thing is that these parties that with these graphics, they were finally also influencing a lot the graphics on the product of the company itself. And this is another project related to performance. It's a commission from Casco Projects Utrecht, and they commissioned, it was a series of exhibits that they didn't ask for an exhibit, but they didn't commission, they commissioned the opening of an exhibit. So I was supposed to design the opening of an exhibit, and in the openings, it's good to drink a little bit and to meet people, but what you don't want to do is to deal with the glasses and everything. So what I did is I designed a fork made of gin and tonic. And that's why it's called GAT fork, gin and tonic fork. It's a machine used for agriculture that they put the nutrients in the air, so the plants, they can take the nutrients from the air. I used this machine, which with ultrasounds make very small particles of the liquid of the gin and tonic, puts in the air. So the whole room was like tasting and smelling gin tonic. You were inside and you were breathing and then drinking gin tonic. We did a lot of tests because we were afraid that maybe if somebody is smoking, it can explode through alcohol concentration. But no, the alcohol, it's the sugar of the tonic. The sugar of the tonic, it's in a very fine particles goes into every electronic device and make the device complete, destroy it. So, okay, performance is of course a kind of interaction, but I love when you can interact with objects. So also in my design, there is a lot of objects that they ask you to do to perform something. So this is Oranienbaum lollipop. It's a lollipop in the it tastes orange flavor, and in the center it has an orange seed, so that when you eat it and then you have the seed on your mouth, you take it out, and then you can put the stick there, and in some years it grows an orange tree. This is an object that it promotes sporadic reforestation. And of course, we had a lot of success with a spam factory with 5 people, but I as I explained you, I don't like to work with to cook or to prepare food. So in 2001, when they asked me to do again the spam factory in an exhibit, I organized already this food karaoke, which is a screen where there is a movie with hands and the way you prepare one of these tomatoes, so that you take the tomato and then you cut it. In that way, people coming to the exhibit, they could prepare one of these spam for himself, so for other people. And in a way is the kind of starting point of this collaborative economy, where the border between the manufacturer and the consumer disappears. Yes, I also love to do objects of design that they have a new typology. So I am not so focused in designing shapes of the objects, but I like when the objects are telling different, or that they need to perform thing. New typology is very difficult because it's not intuitive. So it's a kind of different approach. This, for example, the seed safe, I designed it for Alessi. This is a safe in which you collect seeds. I am very fascinated from seeds. A seed contains information of a species. So when for example, you eat an apple at home and you put the seeds away in the rubbish, you are throwing away a lot of information, the information of the apple tree. So it makes no sense for me not to collect all this information if we are affronting a future where information is the key point of the society. So this is the seed safe. And this is is a label, a wine label, in which you can take a piece of it, and in that way, next day you can remember the wine you were. And this is called cakes. They are cakes or pies where inside it's completely standard, but outside you have in percent the ingredients of the cake. In that way, you know exactly visually with this pie graphic the ingredients that are inside. As I told you, these objects that they are of new typology, they are not intuitive. This is makes a lot of confusion. They are not commercial because not intuitive, and they need an instruction. So I always needed to have an instruction, and sometimes this instruction becomes the object per se. So this is, for example, the instruction on how to eat spammed, the tomato with the bread inside. You have to eat it at one time, because if no, it can fall down the oil and this. So for that reason, we had different sizes of tomatoes depending on the size of your mouth, and then you could choose. And this is another instruction which is actually a diet. It's called tonic death diet, and this is done for in case you don't want to eat conventional food, in case you want to be a lot of time in virtual reality spaces, in case everything is contaminated, or if you go to traveling in the space. It's a directed active hypotonia induced by hypnosis. There is an app that makes you a coma, an induced coma. So your body is completely, mostly in death status, but not your mind and your hands. And then you have to, and then you have to eat some mineral pills every 168 hours. You have a carbohydrate a pill that you dissolve in 2-liter water, and you have to drink every 24 hours. You have a chewing gum, because if you don't eat proper food, the teeth fell down after a while, after several weeks. And then you have some latex balls to make aerobic in your guts that you swallow, and then you go to the toilet, and away you clean and you swallow again continuously every 48 hours. This is a diet that you can do for some time, not forever, so for some months. And I have to say, I didn't try it. Okay, and the other thing that happens to this with the food design is that I started designing these edible objects, and then edible objects needed kind of performance to prepare these things, or they needed a context to explain how you can eat it. They need instruction. So finally, I realized that I had a kind of business models. So this, for example, one of the business models, it's at the left, you see a picture of a microscopic picture of dust, which you have in the air at home, but that you cannot really see with your eye. So what I did is I designed a nutritive muesli in shape of dust, what you see at the right. And this nutritive muesli is on the air, and then by breathing, you can eat. But what happens is that if you eat this dust, it has the danger that it goes to the lungs, to the stomach. So what I did is I put in the muesli a particle that stimulates your saliva, and then the muesli sticks into the saliva, and in that way it goes to the stomach. This is a very historical project from '99. Here you see the installation. It's again in an art context in Barcelona, and there is some lamps that you have the food in picture, but what you are eating you don't see. And then there is some tape in which it says warning, high nutrient air zone. And then at the right you see the dust dispenser, the machine that put the dust in the air. This is a different project. It's called Candy Restaurant. It's a cross-media project, a commission from a company, a communication company in Tokyo, from Drill. And the idea was to do a restaurant to support a fashion campaign. And I proposed to do a restaurant in which you only eat candies. So the menu was done through candies already existing in the market, and you have different menus, and it was done as a proper restaurant with a candy people. And then people were like, there were all these Japanese people eating candies for 3 days. The restaurant was done only for 3 days. It was, although in the media for more than 10 years, but the purpose was cross-media. So I have to say that I was there in the opening. I was eating a candy menu with a lot of difficulties. And 10 years later, and during 10 years, I couldn't eat any candy in my life. Another project, this is a commission also from Performa New York. They asked me in 2009, which was 100th anniversary of futurism, to redesign a futuristic meal. In 1999, Marinetti was doing big banquets in Milano, and with food, with futurist kitchen. And what I realized is that 100 years later, everything has to go faster than in the futurismus. And the purpose of having a meal together was to meet people very close. So what I did is I designed a cup, a ceramic cup, in which inside you had a cocktail And then you had some slogans or some statements and snacks attached to the glass with chewing gum, which was neutrum with no taste, and a chewing you could eat, and it didn't happen anything. So people, the 80 people with this glass and the snacks, energetic snacks, and performing the statements were something like, please do something strange, or present your friend to other friend, or you had to do something. 80 people, 15 minutes altogether. After this, they were 80 people very close together. So it worked very well as a performance to put people together very close together in a very fast time. It was done 2 times in New York. That's the performance. And this is Food Facility, again, a commission from Mediamatic. The commission was to get a new media with food. Mediamatic is a company working with new media. So the idea was to do a restaurant who has 15 different menus from different kitchens. You have Indian, Japanese, Spanish, Dutch food because it was in Amsterdam, but you don't have any kitchen, you outsource everything. So you are a client. Here you were choosing, I will take a Japanese starter, then I will take some Indian food, and as a dessert, I would take some Italian sweet. And then you have the waiter calling to the different takeaway companies, going inside, and here you have, we call it a food DJ who put the food in the tables. That's very interesting because you can see the colors are similar to Google because Google is a system very similar. They organize content, but they don't provide the content. Everything is from outside. So in Food Facility, the restaurant, we were outsourcing everything which is bad in a restaurant. So we didn't have any kitchen. The kitchen was for more people eating. We didn't have any space for having the ingredients, and we didn't have any chef and any preparation time there. We just served the food from the takeaway companies and also the drinks, which is the thing in which restaurants earn the money. So it was done for about 1 month. In 2005, I have to say that now it's more normal, this idea of delivery, food delivery, but at that time it was quite innovative. We were in the New York Times and in all the media with the concept. This is a kind of different thing. This is a shop for camper. It's called Football. It's the idea was to do healthy fast food, which is very opposite to slow food, but it's healthy. The interior was done with bioconstruction and with Feng Shui parameters. And you were sitting in these stairs, and then the food was rice balls with filling inside that you could eat, and you could eat whatever quantity because they were very healthy. There were 2 restaurants of that during 5 years, and then the project stopped. This is again another project. It's in Helsinki with chef Andreas Niemi. It's called Solar Kitchen Restaurant, and it's a restaurant which is the food is prepared with the solar kitchen. The solar kitchen is a kind of parable that with the sun it heats the food, and then you can cook with the sun. We just painted a white square on the floor. We won an architecture prize that said that's the minimal thing that you can do to build something. I have to say that the people, Finnish people who wanted to smoke, they go out from the square, although we were in open air. And also, other thing is that, of course, if it rains, you can have no food. So it's closed when it's rainy, and it's also closed by night, of course. And I have to say that the first day that it rained at the chef Anto Melesniami, it was the happiest man in the world because he didn't need to work. And this is the restaurant in Helsinki. It was during 1 month. This is also Helsinki, same Anto chef. It's called Trojan Bar. It's a box, which is, when it's closed, it's like a transportation box. So you don't care about it. It's completely going, you don't perceive it. When it's open, it goes into a gin and tonic bar. And this is, again, a kind of business model done also in an art context. It's called FIC Bar. FIC Bar is for public fountain ice cube bar. And the idea is that you hijack with an ice cube machine a public fountain in your city. When the fountain is full of ice cubes, you can put champagne bottles, and then you can do a champagne bar till police comes. And now I explained you about a project. It's called Ex-Designer Project Bar. This is a space that we took in Barcelona near the office, and we decided to start the bar and open the bar every day, but the bar would be empty, and we will print the interior with 3D printing machines that you see here on the back. We started in 2015. We started since the first day it's open. Here you have the first piece we printed, this one, and we printed also the glasses. And at the beginning we had very few glasses. People should be standing because we didn't have any stools. And then that's the plan. We had this plan. The bar should finish like that. And this is the bar in 2018, I think, because I don't see, because I have a banner on the top. So I thought the bar would be finished 2017, because it was this 20 years that I started with the first exhibit. No? And my plan was to finish the bar 20 years, at this 2017, 20 years opening, and then print food with the machines. So to change the printing machines from printing the interior to print the food. So here you have the bar like it is. And because we didn't finish 2017, we continued with the food like standard conventional food like that. And this is 2020, and February this year we finish it. We have stools, everything is finished. But unfortunately, with COVID-19, we couldn't open it, we couldn't inaugurate it. So it remains like this till we can open in the next future. So 2017, it was this 20 years food design on my first exhibit with the spam. And although the bar was not finished, I just tried to print one of these tomato, the spam, with a 3D printing machine. So here you can see it's expected 2017, but it didn't happen. So we draw the tomato in a 3D program, And then we did an opening in the same gallery, H2O gallery in Barcelona, and we printed the spam. It's called digital spam. It's the tomato. It's with a flour, and it's bread with tomato taste and with salt and oil. What happened is that while in 97 with a performance with the people, we did 500 in 1 hour. Here you needed 3 hours to do one of the printed objects. And we started to print one at 7, and then somebody stole it. And then we had to print again another one. So what we had is, after the exhibit, only 1 and 2 halves of this tomato, this digital spam. This is how it looks. It's looking very ugly. It's not really nice. And the exhibit was a kind of process of all these different evolution of the food design and spam with a diagram I show you in the beginning. And what I did is with Octavio Rofes, what I did is a diagram that represents a little bit the evolution of design in relation to this spam. So in 97, we have the spam factory, which is the design, a kind of luxury for the masses. So the design helps to be available for a lot of people. It represents the manufacturing industry going into a kind of the show business. It's a kind of luxury for the masses. In 2000, which is the second step, is the spam karaoke. This is a machine help you to do something, is care. Care is also makes people a victim. It's something that it's now happening. The technology helps you to do things. In the 3D spam, that it's the one in 2017, it's a kind of survival design. It means there is technology, but still it's not adjusted. So you have to, in an emergency way, in a kind of urgency, to do a kind of, to build the spam. And then we have 2 speculative things, which will happen 2027 and 2037. 2027, there's this synthetic digital spam. Here, technology will be completely working, and the context is perfect. So you have all the ingredients completely separated, and then you put it together in a very clean way in a spam that will be the perfect food. This is something that it's about being very effective in the segments and in the things that you want to reach. And in 2037, we have, this is about exclusion. Everything is separated, and then it's mixed together very precisely. And in 2037, it's live spam. This is a plant which is manipulated genetically so that the fruit, it tastes already like a bread with tomato. And this is, you don't have any more the project of design, but you have design without project. So this is the spam as a luxury. This is the care design, the karaoke, in which you can, it helps you to do. You have then this survival design, this digital spam, in which it's a reaction to the emerging needs. Then you have digital synthetic spam, which is everything is separated and adjusted in a very precise way. And finally, you have the lifespan, which is the fruit that it's the plant is treated with stem cells and it grows this fruit. This is interesting because this is about transversality, and in this case, the object food becomes subject food. And now I will show you two projects. This is the digital food and digital lifestyle, which refers to this 2027. This is food which is printed with 3D printing additive technologies that it doesn't exist by now. It's food that it doesn't go through a cooking process. It's not. It has nothing to do with tradition, and it has nothing to do with agriculture. It's completely different. It's food done through the project of design. It's kind of architectural thinking process in which you can add vessels inside that you can then put fluids, gases. It's a very, let's say, in a speculative way, it's the perfect food. So this is kind of instruction, a kind of scheme that shows you how it works. You have kind of a data processing that collects your data, and then depending on your data and external factors, you can choose the thing that you want to eat, and then it's printed, and this food is completely personalized for you, and it's according to your needs, organic needs, and also to needs and feeling. This is the data different that you collect during the whole life, and also every hour, and it's based in four main parameters. One is the nutritional. In this case, you don't need to care because it's an algorithm that cares for you. It means that automatically adjust your needs to what it happens to your body. Then you have something that's called dynamic agents, which are elements that care for your needs in a short time. For example, if you want to do sport, you can say, I need to do sport, so then it's adjusted to this activity if you want to work or if you want to relax. Then we have construction. This is the kind of architectural part. In this construction, you can add recipients inside. You can make the texture, the sound. You can work with ergonomics if you want to eat while driving or while doing other things. Then the shape becomes different according to this. And then we have the sensory, which actually is the gastronomic part. Sensory, it's a thing that allows you to control the taste, the smell, and also different things related to the senses. And this is, at the left, you see example of shapes before being affected by the algorithm that add the nutrients or the different nutritive things that you need for your body. This is a project that was presented in 2017 in Hamburg in the MKG. And of course, this is perfect food. So again, Octavio Rofes pointed to me that if you eat this food, your body disappears. You don't need your body anymore. You don't feel your body anymore. So that's why I did one last project, which is called Digital Dark Food, in which, in a way, is a kind of hack of the previous system. So you use the same system, but you use to do some edible objects that taste good, that smells good, but they make you sick. And they make you sick so that you can feel your body. They make you tremors, or they make you feel bad, or feel completely tired, or you have to vomit. And in this way, you can again feel your body and feel that you are in the world, in the real world. And this is the appearance of the digital dark food, which was presented last year, at the end of last year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martí. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was very inspiring. Thank you for taking us on this time machine from the past and into the future. I personally enjoyed the presentation so much. I was laughing from my heart. You make it seem so easy to create the best projects just by avoiding cooking at all costs. We have a very interesting set of questions from the audience. So what we're going to do now is that I can read out your name, and if you want, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. So the first question is from Madalena Galamba. Would you like to ask your question? Is Madalena with us? I can ask the question for her.
She's not there anymore, but yeah, you can ask.
It's a really nice question. Yeah. It's how can food design address the issue of food waste?
Yeah, I think it's a big issue. Actually, it depends on the design you do, but if one of your points in the design is to care about the food waste, and the project of design should be with this parameter so that you can avoid it. But of course, it's one of the parameters of should be a good design of edible object.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. We have another question from Josephine from Lebanon.
Hello, hi Martí. It was a very nice presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
I have a question. It was, what new pathways have opened up for you in food and design since COVID?
Yeah, it's quite a very different panorama, because as you know, restaurants are closed. Everything is more into a different way, more private. I have to say that I did a project related to food in the after COVID period. It's called Casa Mondo. It was done for Maxi in Rome. They asked me to think on what will happen with food after the COVID. And I think you can see it in Instagram, because everything is a kind of in Instagram context. But it was a kind of, the main parameter is that everything happens in your home. And in your home happens a lot of things, like that you cook, or you ask food from outside. And then the idea of food is completely different, because you, in a way, you are at home, but you travel through food from different places. But this food, it's not real. It's a kind of a parody that you do from food from outside. So it's a completely different context, which I find it very interesting and completely new. So I don't know exactly food design, which could be the role in this new, but in a way, what I would like to say is that it's not really COVID, it's the new century. COVID, what it did, make the new century come. It's this idea that the new centuries, also in the past, they always come between 20s and 25 years. So we are now really in the 21st century. And before COVID, we were still in the 20th.
Thank you.
I don't know if I answered the questions.
Yes, you have.
Exactly, you have.
Thank you.
Actually, I've seen this project and I think it's very inspiring, what you call the polyethnic non-mother. That's a very interesting concept.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, there is this idea of who helps you to prepare food now, because people, they don't have cooking books anymore. You go to the YouTube and you look up to the videos, but these videos are completely wrong, or they are not really done as a professional videos. And then you have a lot of difference between people, they believe that this food should be done like that or like that. And I think it's needed something like a city, but what I think is that Siri, it's not appropriate, because Siri, it's algorithm organized to manage virtual things like information and this, but not to manage real things. And I think in the project I do a reference to him, to her. No, I don't remember the name of the film. Which you have a kind of assistant, and she's very good. I think she's called Samantha. She's very good in managing things, but not in the real things. So that's why I think it needs a kind of city chef, which is a specific algorithm for things that you do in the real, that are not based in virtual data. And that's why I think it's something different. And for food, especially, it's something that you need to deal with the real. So it has to be different. Yeah, but the project it's on the, you have to search for that. It's Casamondo. And
it's on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a good idea to follow you on Instagram and see all of these projects. We have another question from Zakia Khan from Istanbul. I'm not sure if she's still with us.
Hello, yes, it's Zakia. I'm from South Africa, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Martí, for an amazing talk. I really enjoyed that. I wanted to ask about, your projects such as Spammed and the pasta eating with fingers. These are really based on or inspired from traditional cultural foods. And now we are in an age where society and the public are very aware of cultural diversity and issues such as cultural appropriation and so on. So I want to ask, how do you navigate, through this contemporary and conceptual design? How do you navigate between something like culture and tradition on the one hand, and the authenticity and associated with that, and then having creative and conceptual vision and following this through with your food design?
Yeah, this is actually a key point, and this is a thing that, in my opinion, the food industry doesn't. They cannot do that. So because traditional food, it's based on the location. It's specifically geographically located, and it's very difficult to imitate in a global way or in a cosmopolitan way. You can never beat the authenticity of the tradition. So they can only beat this traditional food doing the same, but at a low cost with bad ingredients. So I think a challenge, no, how you can do food that it's so good as the traditional food. In my opinion, it's regarded to do meta-territorial, the food design or food which comes from a pseudo-industrial context should be meta-territorial, so not focus it in one point, but being cosmopolitan. This is something not so easy to do, but for example, in my concepts, this digital food, it's something that is completely non-geolocated, so it's completely meta-territorial. It has not any point to tradition. And I have to tell also another thing that I forgot when explaining the food facility. Food facility was the restaurant with a lot of different restaurants from different cultures, no, Indian, Japanese, but the interior was done with something that was like Google, no, these colors, green, black, and blue, and it was not connected with some traditional reference. So it was really, really very difficult to choose one of these foods because you are in a neutral interior and you think, shall I eat Chinese or shall I eat Japanese? And you feel that it felt something. So the context in where you are located, it's incredibly important to help in this idea of traditional food or from this country or from this culture or not. But I know it's not solved. I cannot tell you a statement because myself, I am working on it and it's one of the points that are interesting for me. Again,
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I hope I was answering you in a way.
We have Ralph raised his hand. Maybe if you like to also unmute yourself, and if you have a video also, would be cool. Yeah.
It's just a bit random, but like I just wanted to show that I have your clock, that we actually have your clock, and I didn't realize until recently that was actually your clock. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
And at what time is it now in the clock?
It is unfortunately not working at the moment, so I'll just tell you what time it is. It's 8 p.m., but otherwise the clock is not working.
Now we want to know if design is love.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, great presentation and thank you. It was really good.
Thank you so much, Ralph.
So the next question is actually from Barcelona. Javier wanted to ask you, how do you see 3D printing as a method of mass gastronomic production? Do you think it could contribute to the evolution of food design?
So I have to say, in my experience with 3D printing with food, it's a catastrophe.
Yeah, it took 3 hours for one stamp, yeah.
So yeah, the thing is that usually I say that the 3D printing in general, also, well, I mean this 3D printing that it's available for everyone. In my opinion, it's like the fax. No? The fax was something that it was revolutionary in the 80s, and it was like, wow, fax. But for some people say that it delayed for 10 years the coming of internet. So in a way, maybe if we didn't have the fax, internet would be there in the 80s already. Well, internet, I mean, popular for everyone. So I think the 3D printing is similar now in food more. In food, it doesn't work. So it's the direction, but it has to come a new machine or a new technology that it makes possible. By the moment, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like that.
Thank you. So what's next is another 3D related question. And it's, did you use any coating for the 3D printed objects to contain the liquids? Well, that's a very technical question.
Yeah, no, because we just, what we printed is, we printed the stamped.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reference here was in the objects you did for the bar.
Hello, Marty.
Yeah.
My name is Ali. I'm the one who asked the question.
Yeah.
I really liked your presentation and I love your approach to food design. It's very satirical. As Aya put it, it's funny in a weird way. My question is very technical because I experiment with food and 3D printing as well. And my question is basically the objects that you print to use for the X Lab, X Bar. Do you actually use a coating, a food grade coating for it? Because you know the 3D filaments particles might actually dissolve in the liquor or the alcohol or hot things. So what type of coating do you use, or what is the approach that you use?
You mean for the glasses and for the bottles and for the glasses and the dish?
Yes, the containers.
No, we print it with PLA, which is one that has a certificate for gastronomy, and but it's true that at the beginning we printed in a way that there were a lot of problems, but in the last years we printed so that we do an spiral on the glass and only one. They are very thin and flexible, and this makes the glass and the dishes completely isolated and they don't dissolve. The only problem is the temperature of the washing machine, that it has to be controlled, because if it's very high, they deform. But we print a lot of things, and now since January we don't use, well, now the bar is closed, no, but January and February that still was open, we didn't use it anymore, the glasses, because hygienical reasons, because there were already the virus on different countries, so we decided to use again glass, and probably through this use with the virus we will not use anymore, because the glass is much more hygienical. And the other thing that I have to say is that since 1 year, well, since maybe mid-2019, we printed ceramic. So we had some glasses with ceramic, and they are very nice, and they are also the quality of the beer, for example, and they are very good, and you can wash it perfectly. And they are 3D printed, but not in plastic.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Martí. We have so many questions. I'm trying to read all of them. There's a question about education from José Labaki.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to ask your question? If she's still with us. I'll just read it. And it says, what are your thoughts on food design education?
Yeah, actually, I am. Well, now no, because it's everything changed. But since January, I was doing some modules in SPD school in Milano, and it's very open. It's not really food design in the idea that you design the object food, but also, but then it's food related to all the disciplines: food interior, food, and hospitality. So I think it's interesting, this idea, very generalistic about food design. I don't know, please, Jose. And I am reading that Jose has no microphone.
Let's check. Oh, it's another Jose. That's a Jose from Barcelona. No, it's a Josephine from Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
Jose. Amir, have I missed any questions?
I am looking at them at the moment.
I'm trying to not repeat, like not to be repetitive.
So we have this one. What is the responsibility of a food designer from an ethical point of view? This question from Shada Labaid, if I correctly said it. If you'd like to unmute yourself and go ahead, ask your question. If you're still with us, Shada.
Hello, everyone. It's Shada Labiad from Tunisia.
Hello, Shada. Yeah.
I'm a product design student. Thank you, Marty, for the presentation. It was amazing. So my question is, what's the responsibility of a food designer from an ethical point of view?
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's like to ask a designer which is your responsibility about doing a chair, no? It depends on the designer. If you are a good designer, you will do a very good chair with a kind of holistical view that you care about the materials and you care about where come the materials, where is after the life of the chair. And a food designer, if you are a bad food designer, you can do very bad food designs. So it means, it doesn't mean that food design per se is good. Food design is the design of an object that you can eat. If it's good design or bad design, it depends a lot on the designer and the process of design. But myself personally, I believe that, or in my education also was like that, design is to improve the world in a good way, in a progressive way. So I am trying to do the best that I can to do the projects, and so that the result is good for the consumer and not only think in a benefit for the company. I believe also that if the results are good for the consumer, they are also good in terms of profit for companies or for small companies or whatever.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we have room for one more last question because we should end at 8:30. So Aya, which one do you have? What question?
So I think we'll check on the chat.
Last question.
Last question. It's a complicated question from Ralph Bassem. Would you like to ask your question or should I read it out loud?
I'll ask it. Okay, so you do experiment a lot with 3D food printing, and it is something that is seen more and more in, you know, different aspects. And, you know, we only know that 3D printing is going to evolve exponentially over the couple of years, food 3D printing specifically. I mean, you know, now there's a lot of talks happening about how, you know, everything is getting automated by machines and the human jobs being replaced by machines. And food 3D printing is something you work a lot with. So how do you deal with this dilemma, this ethical question, whatever?
No, it's not really that we are working a lot. I tried to do this printing of the spam. We did this printing we decided that it's a disaster because it's a lot of effort, a lot of technology to print something that it takes a lot of time. Then we tried to print different things, like we did kind of digital nachos, because the technology that we have is based on flour, so we don't print with gelatin, so these things that usually you make something hot and then it goes cold and you do a shape, but we don't like to print gelatin, so we print it in a way that it's a mix of flour with different ingredients, and then when you print it would hot through some grills and then it solidifies. So it's a different technology because I think at least bread is more healthy, but it's again, it's a very complicated. So we took this machine and we put in a box and it's in my lager, and I don't want to see this machine in the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
No, I mean, I am not so, I like it to experiment, but I have to wait that the technology evolve. By now, I don't see any reason to print with food unless you want to, you have a YouTube channel and you want to be in YouTube with a lot of visits.
Thank you.
But maybe you have other experiences, I don't know.
No, I don't. I'm just asking.
No, but who knows? It's my experience, so I don't know. And we don't use extreme sophisticated technology. We use just normal machines because we believe that it has to be available to everyone. So of course, if you have the NASA for you, you can print anything because you have a lot of scientists and technology, a lot of money. But if it has to be available for everyone, for the moment, it doesn't work.
That's nice. I like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Martí, would you like to share any final words?
No, just to say that it was very pleasant to talk in this way. I have to say it's my first live lecture, and no, it was good. But
Yeah,
of course, it would be better to be by you live.
hopefully next year. It's definitely on my list to attend one of your lectures in person.
Yeah, no, but I think it's very interesting that it's people from all over the world.
Yes.
So it's this meta-territorial lecture, no?
Yeah, metaphysical.
That, I think that it's in a way interesting or different, no? It's good.
Yeah, it would be great to hear what the audience think. Like, how was your experience? Did you enjoy it? We can see that in the chat. And Martí, it was an honor to have you here. Thank you for your amazing work and the insight and everything you shared with us. I would also like to thank Amir and Lovis for organizing this event. And before we wrap up, I would love to bring your attention to the upcoming food feature titled Food Design and Behavior by Honey and Bunny Atelier from Austria. We will be exploring possibilities of changing our habits and rituals through eating design next Wednesday.
So I will be there because I know them.
Yeah, please join us. And thank you for the amazing audience and the engagement. It was really nice. An awesome way to kick off.
Thank you.
Great, thank you all, and have a good night, and please be safe and healthy. Thank you. Bye-bye.